yourself for anything. Yeah, survival is the very thing. Yeah, daddy get some say a day we live.
Oh, shalom Rastafari. Shalom, it's your brother Ras Mario here, reporting for Ras Mario videos on the YouTubes and Rastafari Groundation. And I want to start something new that I've been meaning to bring this forward for a little while. Really dedicate some time now to the metaphysics of the word. Getting the understanding, of certain terms in the scriptures, and we begin in the 24th Torah portion, and we just left the book. We just out of Shemot, and we're going into Vayikra or Wayikra, and or in the Royal Heart, or we Zelewawian. Okay, so this is how we're going to start this. We want to get a metaphysical meaning of the overview of the chapter. We want to go into, once the new Sabbath comes around and we start the new Torah portion, Saturday evening after the Shabbat. We want to get a metaphysics study of the chapters in, because as Ethiopian Hebrews, we understand that Yeshua and the Old Testament and all the ritual sacrifices, the tabernacle, and all they're types of Christ. So we want to get an understanding of the scripture. So we want to read what Leviticus stands for here in, this is the Torah portion schedule from the Rastafari Foundation. Go download, it's free to keep up with your Torah portions. But the Book of Leviticus is the book of the priesthood of ancient Israel, concerning ritual and sacrificial laws pertaining to the Mishkan, the tabernacle, and later the temple. The book describes the details of offering various sacrifices to the Lord, and especially emphasizes ritual purity and holiness. In fact, nearly half of the 613 commandments of the Torah are found in this book. And much of the Talmud is based on it. If you don't know what Talmud means, basically the teaching. So we see that Leviticus is focused around the sacrifices, and in the New Testament we know that Yeshua, he fulfilled all of these sacrifices of the Old Testament. So we want to go into the metaphysical. I got my notes over here, and get a metaphysical reading of sacrifice. Alright, so sacrifice is a refining process that is constantly going on in consciousness. The reunification of old beliefs that seem good for new ideas that are more of the nature of Christos, of Christ. Okay, so we see right here that a sacrifice wasn't always physical. That with metaphysical meaning of sacrifice is the constant refining of the consciousness, not converting our souls to the world of flesh and the devil. So the next part reads, sacrifices to the Lord. And you see right here that this Torah portion details sacrifices to Adonai. So we want to get, okay, we've gotten that part. Every thought and action of man sets free an energy that gravitates to its appointed place in the various realms of the mind and body. The Lord is the one universal mind. I believe that name is El Shaddai, which is the receptacle of all thought. If you have a thought of love and goodwill, you set free invisible emanations. And that word emanation, we know the story, the question to His Majesty on Him being the reincarnation of Christ, and the answer He gave, and what emanation really means. But we want to continue here. They are impregnated with these thoughts. So if you set your thought to love and goodwill, you set free invisible emanations that are impregnated with these ideas. So it's basically what you take in is what manifests. That's why you say what you release on earth is also released in heaven. So these ascend to the higher realm and form part of your soul. Because then the soul, then the spirit, then the body. Your soul takes it in first. That's why I believe it's Wadi Apollos that speak in the New Testament about sin within the mind that's corrupting the mind. And at the same time relate you to the Lord. So everything in nature is going through a refining process, and there is a constant ascension of matter to mind and mind to spirit. That's pretty interesting. We are taught that a period will finally come when the whole universe will be resolved back into the original essence in God. So we're going to do more than this is going to be a part one because we don't have much time on these vids here. So we're going to continue. Concerning the Old Testament, the burnt offerings of bullocks and sheep on the altar represent the transmutation of physical forces to the next higher plane of action. This process of body refinement that pertains to those who follow Jesus in regeneration. You see, so you get it here that these sacrifices were sacrifices of Yeshua to refine your spirit to Yeshua. The altar represents the plane in consciousness where we are willing to give up the lower to the higher, the personal to the impersonal, the animal to the spirit, to the spiritual. So the Hebrews, they say after a while all the sacrifices, they were just becoming inhumane for the animals. That they wasn't receiving the spiritual aspects from it. Because, if you know the Old Testament, you know how many times the Israelites fell off or broke the covenant with Yahweh. But the life forces of those living in generation